What's up my bro, Tundrum here, back with another video, and today I'm going to be showing you my Deathtouch Tribal Standard Deck and giving you some gameplay on it. This deck, the new card Fynn the Fangbearer, lots of people are talking about it. It came out and I was like, so many people were making EDH decks around it, but I was like, why not build a standard deck around this? So I built this standard deck. It actually performed really well. I originally just filled it with tons of Deathtouch creatures, but in the end, if they dealt with a Fynn the Fangbearer, if you had one, you would often be in a lot of trouble and you wouldn't really be able to win. But this version of the deck, I filled it with a lot more utility cards, so you can constantly keep bringing back your Fynn from the graveyard, tutor them up easier, all sorts like that. Well, anyway, let's get into the deck tech. So, here's the deck. You can just look at it on the side. If you want to skip this bit, feel free to skip ahead to the gameplay, but I'll go through each of the cards individually. First up, we're running 4 Falmire Knight. It's a 1 mana 1/1 zombie knight Deathtouch, and it also has an adventure. For 3 mana, we get to draw a card and lose 1 life. So this is essentially a 1/1 Deathtoucher with a pretty big upside, so we're going to pick it over many of the other 1/1 Deathtouch options. We're then running 4 Malakir Rebirth. This can also be played as a land, and it's also really viable because almost all of our Deathtouch creatures, they trade, because most of them are just little creatures, but they always trade. So you then do this, and you'll go survives the trade with your enemy's creature and brings it back. It's also really viable to use on Fynn the Fangbearer to resurrect them, so you can kill them quicker with those poison, and it can be really good on some of our bigger creatures as well if they're being targeted with removal. Running 4 Typhoid Rats. It's just a 1 mana 1/1 Deathtouch, but they are viable. I was originally running 2 Typhoid and 3 Moss Viper and 3 Toguru to make it a little bit more of an even split, but the deck has a fair bit more black in it than green, and with the mana base as well, it's often going to be easier to cast black spells. So it's just a 1 mana 1/1 Deathtouch, still decent, trades with anything and helps kill them off easily. Moss Viper, same thing as Typhoid Rats, it's just green, so it's slightly worse, because green's more or less a splash. Like, it's not really. We've got Fynn, Cheval, these two, Garruk, Questing Beast, the 2 land spells, and then lands. We just have about, I think, 25% more black, so I just prefer the black pick over the green ones. But we're running 2 Moss Viper and 2 Toguru. You could just go 4 of one of these, but I'm just splitting them out in case they have some hate thing against one individual card, like Ashiok's Erasure or something. 4 Mire Trident. I was originally running more Cheval over this. In fact, I wasn't running Mire Trident at all, but it's a 2 mana 2/1 Deathtouch, which isn't that bad, and when it enters, we mill 2 cards and gain 2 life. Now, the gain 2 life, it's nice, it helps us survive against aggro, but the main thing is that mill 2 cards is actually really viable in this deck. Because, as I said, I want to be able to resurrect Fynn when he dies, so we're running things like Call of the Death Dweller and Balagid Recovery. So, this can actually be really viable, milling those 2 cards. We're then running, of course, the man, the legend, Fynn the Fangbearer. What makes the deck insane? He's a 2 mana 1/3 legendary creature human warrior with Deathtouch. That's already not that bad stats. Trade up to a lot of things. Trades up to pretty much everything, actually. And then it says, whenever a creature you control with Deathtouch deals combat damage to a player, that player gets 2 poison counters. So Deathtouch will 5 hits from a Deathtouch creature, and they're dead. This essentially puts them on 5 life from our creatures. More or less. Not quite that strong, but it's very close to what it does. A 5 hit. So it really got solid. Pretty much nearly makes Deathtouch as effective on players as it would be on creatures. It's insane how quickly this can kill. I've often had, I'm not sure, have I had a turn 3 kill? I don't think I've had a turn 3 kill, but you can easily get turn 4 kills with Fynn. Because, you can't quite get a turn 3 kill. If you splash for red and you put in double strike cards, you could easily kill them on turn 3. But with Fynn, it's a very overkill on turn 4. Like, they go up to 16 poison on turn 4 if they don't do anything with him often. But what I'm saying is he kills them super, super fast. If you can keep him on the field, the enemy is most likely dead. Because either A, they're taking the hits and just dying, or they have creatures to block, but you're going to be trading all these little 1/1 and 2/1s up for the likely pretty viable creatures, which is likely going to be profitable for you. Running 1 Shivel, Bane of Monsters. I was originally running 2 of him, but he's never actually really done anything good for me. He's a 2-mana 1/3 Deathtouch, and that's really all he's ever been for me. He also says, at the beginning of your upkeep, if your opponents control no permanents with bounty counters on them, put a bounty counter on target creature or planeswalker an opponent controls, and whenever a permanent an opponent controls dies with a bounty counter, you gain 3 life and draw a card. So this often you put it on one of the creatures they have to block with, or they're going to block with, and this can draw your card and gain 3 life. But number 1, you have to wait a whole turn rotation to drop him. Number 2, he's not an ideal 2-drop. You're normally going to be wanting to drop Fynn or even Maya Trident over him. And number 3, I was originally running removal, so you could do this on even the viable creature they're not going to block with. But I decided to get greedy, and I took out most of the removal cards out of the deck. So he's still alright, he often gets you some card advantage, but really most of the time he just turns out as a 1/3 Deathtouch. We're then running 4 Call of the Death Dweller. This may not seem great, but in this deck almost all our creatures are little. Often it's 3 mana, return up to 2 creature cards with total CMC 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Put a Deathtouch counter on either of them, and then put a Menace counter on either of them. And that Deathtouch on Call of the Death Dweller may not seem like much, but pretty much the premium black removal spell in Standard right now, the one used by far the most, is probably Heartless Act. And so that essentially protects it from Heartless Act, the other creature. So one of them gets Menace, and the other one gets Heartless Act protection, which is actually viable. But Call of the Death Dweller is so good. It can bring back Fynn plus one of our 1-drops, 2 1-drops, a 2-drop and a 1-drop, or even a 3-drop. And give the Menace, and Menace is really, really, really viable on Deathtouch creatures, because if they double block, if your creature has any more than 1 power, both of the creatures are going to die, and because of the poison, it makes it much harder for them to block anyway, and die a lot quicker. And because it has Menace, it's really hard for them to block profitably as well. Call of the Death Dweller is so strong in this deck. May not look good, but it is. We're then running 4 Hooded Blightfang. It's a 3 mana 1/4 Deathtouch, and it says whenever a creature you control of Deathtouch attacks, each opponent loses 1 life, and you gain 1 life. It also turns Deathtouch to an insta-kill on Planeswalkers as well. So it's a nice bit of mainboard Planeswalker hate. Planeswalkers are always everywhere these days, so that can often generate you a lot of value. It's a 1/4 Deathtouch, which is actually quite viable. We don't care about power too much in this deck, because we're normally, hopefully, going to be killing them with poison. But a 1/4 is really good, because they need a creature with at least 4 power to kill it, and 4 toughness. That's really hard to remove. And then that creature control of Deathtouch attacks, that can generate you so much value, gains you tons of life, and it often, even without Fynn, this can win you games, because it puts so much pressure on them. Really viable, and often lets us kill them off easily just with damage. We're then running 1 Varragoth Bloodsky Sire. I was originally running 4 of this guy, but honestly, he's not as strong as he looks. He's a 3 mana 2/3 Deathtouch, but that is not good stats in this deck. It seems alright, like a 3 mana 2/3 Deathtouch, I'll take that, but really, it's just not very strong, considering you've like 2 mana 2/1s and stuff. Well, the stats look good, they're not really anywhere near as good as they seem, because it's not that much power. And so that's not actually that viable. He's not that viable of a body. And the boast, I was like, oh, that's really strong. But a lot of times, you're not really going to be wanting to do this, because we're really aggro. We're going to be wanting to spend all our mana in the first 2 turns, so we often don't have the mana to do this. And really, we don't have anything too crazy to tutor. We're almost always just going to do it with Fynn if we don't have him yet, or maybe Call of the Death Dweller, or maybe Hooded Blightfang. But really, it doesn't generate too much value. It is solid, and when you can trigger his boast, it is really good, makes your next draw perfect. But often, you won't have the mana to shield this out, and a 3 mana 2/3 Deathtouch is not very aggressive, and just not the best body overall. We're then running 3 Bala Ged Recovery. It can be played as a tap land, or a 3 mana sorcery that returns any card from our graveyard to our hand. This is quite viable, helps us once again resurrect Fynn. help kill them way quicker. Have all your creatures have that constant poison effect. Can resurrect one of our removal spells. Anything really. It can even resurrect Call of the Death Dweller, which you can then resurrect, let's say, Fynn and another creature as well if you have enough mana. So it is quite a viable card, and I think it is worth making your land into tap for, because 3 of these went in this place for the slot of 2 regular lands. We're then running 3 Kalani Ambush. Because Deathtouch instantly kills creatures, this kind of says, it says destroy target creature an opponent controls. That creature deals damage equal to its power to target creature you control. That's kind of what it is. So normally with a Fynn or a Hooded blightfang or a Shevel, this is often just going to be killing something, or we'll often be happy just to have a 1, if we don't have something big enough just to kill it and survive, we're often happy for a 1/1 to fight one of their bigger creatures, because that's a 1 mana creature is quite a good trade for a bigger creature. It's not incredible, but it can also be played as a land, so it is a lot of versatility on it. We're then running 1 Garruk Unleashed. I never thought of putting him in this deck. I decided, I've never played him before, so I thought, he looks fun, so I'll put one of them in. He's actually a really, really strong top end on turn 4. Drop him on turn 4, and make one of your Deathtouches huge. It's actually really viable. That trample can get free and trample is a huge buff. It essentially makes it so your creature just can't be traded for, pretty much, just kills their stuff. And if you have a Fynn that helps force damage through with the trample, he's actually really viable with his +1. His -2 is also really good, or it's often a -1 if they have a lot of creatures, creating a free beast. That's often in a situation it will help us kill them, or if we want to kill them with damage, really easily. And it also helps prevent attacking creatures against aggro decks. And his ultimate, if we do ever get his ultimate, it lets us get any creature out of our deck at the end of turn. So it kind of is, as with a lot of emblems, puts you in a really game-winning position. We're then running 3 Questing Beast. It's really good on its own, and it also has Deathtouch. So it helps with the Hooded blightfang, the Fynn helps kill them all for that, and Questing Beast, even if it didn't have the Deathtouch, it would still be going on the maybe put in the deck includes. Because the Vigilance Haste, a lot of games you just kill them with Questing Beast. Combined with Hooded blightfang and Questing Beast, we can often actually kill them just with damage. It's not actually too hard. And so it is viable in that aspect as well. And of course it has Deathtouch, a little bit of extra Planeswalker hate, prevents fog effects pretty much, is really good on defense as well as offense. It's just really versatile for a 4-drop, and we had to run it. So it's ideally our curve, of going through a curve, is 1-drop Deathtouch, 2-drop one either, hopefully Fynn, maybe a Maya or a Shevel, 3-drop Call of the Death Dweller if we've played Fynn and he's died, or a Hooded blightfang, hopefully, or maybe a Kalani Ambush to ambush their thing, and then maybe dropping into a big 4-drop top end. This deck really often curves off very nicely. And we also are running Agadeem's Awakening. This is a slightly worse swamp, but if we can X equals 5 it, for example, that's returning X equals 2 it, that's returning 2 creature cards from our graveyard to our battlefield, a 2-drop and a 1-drop, and anything bigger than that, and it's almost game-winning. Very strong card. And then finally we're running 6 Swamp, 5 Forest, and 2 Darkboard Pathway. I would be running full Pathway, but unfortunately, 0 rare wild cards. But yeah, I'm finding this deck quite a lot of fun. It has performed quite well. I am currently only in Silver rank, but I'd say it's got so far about 70% win rate out of the games I've done. So that's the deck tip, guys. And now I'm going to be getting into some gameplay. I hope you enjoy. I will see you once I get into the first game. I actually decided to bottom the Moss Viper here. Just simply because we can't play it on turn 1, and we want to be playing these on turn 2 instead. I still think I'm going to drop Kalani Ambush as a land on turn 1 in case we draw into anything green. I keep Call of the Death Dweller over there. I was going to bottom it, but I was like, wait, I forgot, these mill me. So Call of the Death Dweller kind of just has card advantage on here. We might be able to hit something good with it. Hey, so we've got a Shivel in our graveyard that could be potential value later on with Cool. Mill and Malakir Rebirth, that doesn't really matter. Okay, Falmire Knight, that's not too bad of a draw. I think we can go Maya into Falmire this turn. Let's see if we can get him for 2. I don't think that to activate the draw card, but I think we want to go aggro here, as he doesn't seem to have anything these first few turns. Unless he has a counter. And we'll drop another My Trident. I reckon he'll have a counter spell for this one. Seems to be running something that will run counters. Yeah, another Drawi Disruption. That's not too bad. I'm still pretty happy with this board state. Oh, he gets 2 mountains. So he's Teamer. Okay, so we're into game 1. I'm looking at my slanting hand and I'm like, I'd really want to keep this. If we could potentially draw into a forest, and if we did, it would be so strong. And it does have a start even without a forest. I'd consider mulliganing this. Like, it's real 50-50, but I reckon I'm actually going to keep. I'm going to be a bit greedy. Okay, Island into Ascendant Spirit. That's interesting. Snow covered. He might be some sort of snow deck. Okay, Swamp, and I'll drop Falmire. We did draw into a blightfang, so that gives us even more of a play if we don't draw into a green source. I'm not sure about running these cards. It's like, is it worth the payoff for the land entering tapped to have the versatility of another spell? I'm really not sure at this point, but I think it is, but maybe not. Because it is games like this where it's like, oh, it's a bit clunky. If we mill a forest off this, I'm going to be so mad. You can do that at instant speed, can't he? That card's not as bad as I thought. I'm pretty happy for my 1/1 Deathtouch to trade up for his spirit. Wait, no, he didn't block in the end anyway. My Trident? Okay, those were good mills. We definitely did not want to draw into Garruk, and probably didn't really want to draw into Varragoth either. So now it's a 4/4 Flying Angel, I think. Becomes put a flying counter, Spirit Warrior Angel. Okay. Put a blightfang. That's quite a nice drop here. Okay, so he activates his Ascendant Spirit, makes it a 6/6, and draws a card. But we just top decked another Hooded Blightfang, so this is going to be quite fun for him. A lot of damage there. He's going to take 10 damage in total. I think I'm going to shop this in so we can play Malakir Rebirth in case he tries to kill one of our things, or maybe a Ball Wipe of some sort. Swings in, hits us, draws a card, plays Fabled Passage, cracks it. I'm not really sure what he could have here that could get him out of the situation. You never know. He really needs to deal with both the Blightfangs. Okay, I'll Malakir Rebirth that, and I think at that point it's GG. He also loses 2 life with the Murderous Rock. Yep, okay, that's a good game. That was a relatively good win for us. We did actually draw into some really good draws without drawing green there. If we had top jet green earlier on, though, they would have been in quite a lot of trouble. Hooded Blightfang is just really, really good in this deck. It's essentially a Campaign of Vengeance effect alongside with 1/4 Deathtouch body that also kills Planeswalkers. It's extremely strong. But yeah, I'll see you in the next game. What do you guys think about putting Feathered Imp into the deck? It's always been in the back of my head, and I'm like, it could be viable, because you can essentially, with Fynn, you can give it Deathtouch, and without it, you can still swing at their face anyway. So, and it's a flyer. It actually seems quite viable, potentially viable. And you can block with it as well, and just hold up the mana. Like, the fact that you have to pay 1 black, it's barely even a downside in this deck. I actually think it's viable. Not going to put it in for now, though. I think I'm going to have to mulligan this starting hand here. Nah, it's not keepable. This one isn't too much better, but I'm going to keep it. It's better than the other one, at least. I think I'll bottom Cool here. I'm not sure if the best play was Cool or Forest here, but I think Cool. Hey, Moss Viper, that's quite a good draw. Because the next time we can go Malik here and still play a Deathtoucher, and then we can play Typhoid Rats. Or Hooded Blightfang, actually. Null Priest, okay. Doesn't attack. Okay, that's interesting. So we know that's valuable to him. I think I'll swing in. Yes, okay, that's quite good there. So we know both his creatures are valuable to him. AR, oh, okay. Some sort of mono black deck, I would assume. We can now quite comfortably swing him with both creatures. Or do we keep one back for blocking? I think both swinging is probably slightly better here. Oh, Heartless Act, okay. Swinging for 2 damage, okay. Not bad. Now that Hooded's gone, though, we could potentially be in a teeny bit of trouble. I think we'll draw a Falmire Knight here. Fynn, okay, that's quite a nice draw. I think I'll play Typhoid Rats, Falmire Knight, just keep Typhoid Rats hidden in my hand. Swing with both, I think. Oh, that was probably actually not the best play because we had Fynn and we wanted to get a big swing the turn we drop him. Never mind. Oh, he's just sacking it. Okay, that's quite good for us then. I was like, oh, trading a 1/1 for a 1/1 lifelink is not the best, but that's obviously pretty valuable to him. Well, it's more valuable in the graveyard. I don't really know why he was so keen to keep it. Maybe he just wanted to sack it to Ayara. Okay, Veto. That is good. Okay, we could potentially be in a lot of trouble here. Drop Fynn. Can he win next? Is it? Yeah, we can. Is it possible for us to survive if he gets another turn? He activates, gives all his stuff lifelink. Oh no, that's if we have no blocks. Okay, no, that's not too bad. I'm happy with leaving up 2 blockers. I think that's safe. Swing for 3 damage. Which will give him 6 poison, no blocks. Okay, no blocks, so he goes up to 6 poison counters. Would have been quite good if he did block, though, because that's a very good trade for us. Or he could even stay on the defense here if he wanted to. Massacre Worm. And that's good game. Jeez, Massacre Worm, okay. That's one thing our deck has not coped dealing with. I haven't seen Massacre Worm in a while. It was played tons when it first came out, but it's kind of died down. That's the first time I've seen it in months. But no, well played in the opponent there. Okay, we're into game 3. And our hand This does look keepable. Like, I reckon turn 1, turn 2, turn 3. I actually think this hand's a keep. Hey, he plays a Deathtouch creature as well. Interesting. Oh, he might be running the same deck. I haven't actually seen another Deathtouch deck before. Might be a popular thing, but I haven't seen anything anywhere about it. Be interesting to see what his deck like. We could possibly get some upgrades with it. All 4 Typhoid Rats out of 8 cards. Pretty cool. He's got a Typhoid Rats of his own, okay. Antigoras, who's running all 3 1-drop Deathtouches. Plays a Forest. And I assume he's not attacking. He might have Cool though, that's the thing. No, pass his turn. So he drew a green here. That's not ideal. But we can still make it work. Makes it so next land we draw we can drop Questing Beast as well. No attacks. I was originally running what's the card? Hooded Blightfang. Okay, he's obviously running quite a similar deck to us then. Block, I think. We'll just double block. We don't want to get any poison. Yeah, because all our Deathtouch stuff pretty much instantly kills any of his creatures anyway, so it shouldn't matter so much. Call of the Death Dweller. Yeah, that seems viable. Do we drop it? Yeah, that's a good play. Maya Trident and a Typhoid Rats. Deathtouch counter, and I think Menace on our bigger guy is still the play here. It'd be funny if he did the same thing. No. He might be running 4 of each of the 1-drop Deathtouches. I wouldn't be surprised. I hate Questing Beast. This is one of the games where Questing Beast will come in really viable. Okay, swing for 4. Call Deathtouch his own. Quite a similar deck. I haven't seen any of the tap lands though, so maybe they're not the correct thing to play. I'm happy for that trade there. I think we'll go for a draw card here. Delegate Recovery. Okay, that's quite a nice draw. Happy to swing in for 4 here. He might get a bit of poison off on us because we did do the more conservative play, drawing a card. But I'm alright with that. I swing with Fynn as well. Block. He might have another Call of the Death Dweller. I'm not entirely sure. I know, just another Fynn. Okay, it's not too bad. What do we have in our graveyard right now? We could get back. No, wait, all the stuff is Deathtouch. I forgot about that. We could get back Malakir Rebirth. We already have one though. I think Typhoid Rats, Balagid Recovery, returning. What's the return play here? I think just the Ooh, I'm actually going to go with Falmire Knight here. I like that card advantage. And we'll drop another Typhoid Rats. And we'll hit him for 4. Hopefully he doesn't top deck removal here. 1 turn will be open. Just a Maya Trident. Okay, that's not too bad. He's running main deck Lurrus. Okay, I thought main deck Lurrus. I was thinking about it, and I was like, should I go down to all CMC 2 or less? But I was like, well, then we lose Hooded Blightfang, lose Questing Beast, lose our one Vargroth, and lose our Garruk. And I thought it's just not really worth the payoff. But it seems like it could potentially be quite viable. I think I'll go for the card draw. Fynn the Fangbearer. Okay, that's not a bad draw. I think we'll drop that. No playing. Oh, nah, no playing land here. Combat, hit him for 4. And we'll end the turn. I also gets to infect. Well, it's not infect poison, but pretty much everyone calls it infect just because of, well, the infect mechanic, which is probably the most well known. Okay, I guess I'm just going to go block, like that. Wonder what that was for. Oh, Agademes, okay. Well, I could X equals 4 that if I could drop it. That would be any number of that each have a different. Okay, no, that wouldn't be too good. It would only get 2 creatures back anyway. Falmire. Combat, hit him for 4. And in the turn. So if he attacks, we can Malakir and Kalani, I guess. I don't really like losing all that life, but if he plays anything too scary, we can fight it. I think I'm just going to fight his thing now. We are only on 4 life, and anything additional could be painful. And we have a Questing Beast. Oh, called the Death Dweller. Okay, that's quite a nice top deck. I'll get back. I think I'm just going to get back Maya and Typhoid. Just because I don't really think I'm not really going to bother about killing him with poison here. He's only on 10 life. Oh, he would have went up to 4 poison. But I think we're more likely just to kill him from damage. And I'd probably rather gain the 2 life than have potential to kill him from poison. And we have Agademe's Awakening in case we need him back anyway. We do need to still get into a swamp for that though. Okay, we have another Questing Beast. That's quite a nice backup. Yeah, I think we have this game relatively well secured at this point. Hit him for 6. Yeah, it's gonna. I'm not sure what he could have to come back from this situation. Because if he kills all of our Questing Beast, we then have another one. And it's a good game. Like, I actually think Questing Beast is a good include in this deck. Because it makes it so, without Questing Beast, Garruk and Hooded Blightfang, like, if I went the Lurrus build way, it's really hard to kill them with damage. Like, very hard. All your creatures are 1, maybe 2 power. And if they deal with Fynn, exile them or deal with him twice after you resurrect him, or you just don't get him, you're in a lot of trouble. You're essentially a deck full of 1/1s that deal infinite damage to creatures, because that's what Deathtouch kind of is. It doesn't look great for you at that point. So I actually think having the Hooded Blightfang, the Garruk, and the Questing Beast in the deck, it gives you another way to win. They're also really good cards on their own and help win with our little swarm over, infect, resurrect game plan, but they are also a separate win con on their own, letting you. Hooded Blightfang is really good against, the Planeswalker hate main deck, that's always nice. Lots of life gain, lets you survive a lot longer against aggro decks from the Hooded Blightfang. Questing Beast and Hooded Blightfang are both really good at hitting them for damage. Questing Beast kill them in 4 to 5 turns normally. Hooded Blightfang, Campaign of Vengeance effect. And Garruk matrix a bunch of bodies and can give our guys a huge pump. This hand's a definite keep here. Is it a definite? Yeah, it's not incredible, but it's a good keep. Like, turn 1, turn 2, play that if we don't have a land on turn 3. But we still have 2 turns to draw into untapped land anyway. Urion. Okay. See quite a few Urion decks around. I'm not a huge fan of having them as a companion, because 80 card deck, unless you're really similar to this deck, and maybe don't mind having more like 1/1 death. No, this deck would be horrible 80 cards, because it would be so hard to get Fynn. Unless you're a deck that just has a bunch of like really similar options. Like, I remember when I first really got into more competitive Standard, when I actually had a chance at tournaments, which was around just after Guilds came out. That was when I was finally becoming quite a good player and could consistently get good results out of a Standard deck and know what's good. Back then, I remember it was a kind of a mono green stompy deck, also with a bit of black. But I remember there being so many viable free drop options. Like, if I had a 4 of each free drop card, I had about 10 viable free drop options that were all so good. And then once I converted to Gruul, once Ravnica Allegiance came out, there were so many free drop options there as well. Like, you could go between Steel Leaf Champion, I best not talk about this, but there were so many options in that deck. And so going for certain slots, and it really didn't matter which one you had, there were so many different ways to build it. Going up to 80 cards to have a Urion companion would have been good in a deck like that. But in Standard right now, there's really just the good cards, and I think going up to 80 is not a very good pick. I'm just not a huge fan of having an 80 card deck, that's all. Heartless Act, that's not too bad. We can bring it back with Heartless Act immunity this time, so that'll be quite nice. If he's running Snowlands, he could just be doing it for bling. Free Call of the Death Dwellers. He could be just using it for bling, or he could have something. Oh, do I want... Nah, I want him blightfang here, definitely. Makes us, if he can't do anything, hit him for 4 this turn. So, like, imagine this game of... Instead of the blightfang, we had a Lurrus companion, and then like an extra 1/1. It wouldn't be good for us. He's thinking a lot, so he might have something. Heartless Act immunity there on the Hooded Blightfang. It's just one thing I love about Call of the Death Dweller. So many decks in Standard run Heartless Act, and Call of the Death Dweller just makes the creatures you resurrect immune to it. So, yeah, it's just a nice niche little upside that actually works. Binding of the Old Gods, okay. Heard that card's doing some work. Seems pretty good, like it's full mana removal, thins your deck out, ramps you a turn, and then gives all your creatures Deathtouch, which I guess is viable. Yeah, they're all actually really viable modes now that I think about it. I think I'll split out my strength amongst the 2 creatures. Immunity, Menace, and then we also get a gain 2 and mill 2. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I'm splitting it out, and then hopefully we mill 2, and then we might hit a Fynn, which we did. So then next turn we can call and get back. We can get back call and get back Fynn and a 1/1. And in that situation, unless there's something really good this turn, we have some nice momentum going there. I don't think he has a ball wipe. Are there any viable Oh, there is that exile everything with CMC free or less ball wipe he might be running actually. That could be quite annoying. We could just call into... We could just call into the... No, we could call into Hooded Blightfang. We'll just draw Hooded Blightfang. I'm actually going to go like that. I'm tempted to call, but I'm worried in case there's some sort of ball wipe thing. And this puts him on 9, which is pretty low. Is that good if you don't run any creatures? Like, I guess it's 4 mana, destroy target non-land permanent, but that's a pretty poor rate. And I guess you also get a land the next turn, but is that worth the additional 1.5-ish mana investment you're paying for it? Like, I guess 1 mana investment, because 3 mana is really what you're looking at if you want to destroy target non-land permanent. But is it worth... Yeah, I just heard that this card's really good. It seems alright, like, especially in draft, it's insane, but... And the deck should be running it, it doesn't... Yeah, oh, yeah, I guess it is really good. All 3 modes are super viable, and some, like, mid-range to late game deck that has green and black in it, because it ramps, destroys something, the ramp's quite viable, and gives all your guys Deathtouch if you have any. He got Emergent Ultimatum. I have not seen Emergent Ultimatum played so much. I've seen most of the other Ultimatums, but I've never actually seen Emergent Ultimatum. Might have seen it once or twice, but I don't regularly see it. And then mono-coloured cards. It's kind of weird. It's a free colour card, and only there's you search for mono-coloured things. An opponent chooses one of those cards. Oh, you may cut. I thought they put them into your hand. Okay, no, that card is quite good. Well, that just... I'm going to have to get rid of that. Punches is one of them. Yeah, I'm getting rid of Peer into the Abyss. He does get Underworld Dreams and Seagate, so he draws 3 cards, and... No, that's not too scary for us. I'm not too scared of that. Yeah, it was essentially 7 mana for an Underworld Dreams and draw 3 cards. That's pretty good. Do we win here? Yeah, we've just won. I think. Yeah. Get back Hooded Blightfang. You can only get that Hooded Blightfang, but I don't think it matters. Yeah, that's lethal. Yeah, that's lethal on board. Swing for lethal. And that's GG. I think I'll just conclude the video there, guys. You kind of get the gist of the deck. Yeah, I find this deck quite fun to play. It might be trending around now, because we did see another deck play it. Maybe it's a popular thing, but I haven't seen it anywhere else. I just thought Fynn was kind of a cool card, and I remembered, oh, there was a few Deathtouch payoffs in Standard. I looked back, and I just threw this deck, and it's actually really fun to play, and being quite successful for me, with quite a high win rate. I am only in silver rank, so I'm not really against proper competitive decks, but no, it's good time. This deck's actually quite a cool deck. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you want to see more from me, make sure to smash down on that subscribe and like button, and I look forward to seeing you next time.